And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here to Homestead-Miami Speedway as we get ready for the running of the Ford Ecoboost 400 41-lap event here, ready to be run as this is chase race number 3 of the NNSCRA SNICKERS-CUP series here in Season 6. Already, we've made a little bit of a cut into this season's chase for the championship, and we're already starting to see several storylines start to play out. Drivers who come in with a lot of momentum, drivers who come in with themselves in a little bit of trouble trying to find their way back up inside the mathematical eligibility to be this season's champion. On the pole position for today's race, it's going to be P.J. Williams in the number 48 Lowe's Impala out of Hendrick Motorsports. Now, Hendrick Motorsports only has 2 drivers in the chase, and only one of them has gone victory lane, and that is, of course, Cole Daly. So P.J. Williams, starting on the pole position, may be able to keep his car out front all day. He may be able to pick up a win here today, his first career win in Hendrick Motorsports, and in his career, we'll find out. And then, alongside of him, a driver who really has been having a lot of good momentum in the last few days, and that is Ralph Mason. He ended up finishing really well last week at Thornton. He's also had some good runs in the Mobile Cup Series races. Ralph Mason is on a bit of a streak, and don't forget, his younger brother Wolfgang went to victory lane here yesterday in his second time this season. So the Masons definitely on a bit of a momentum streak right now. We'll see if Ralph can carry it over to a possible win here today at Homestead. Then you got the Zach Rogers machine making only his second career start here in the SNICKERS-CUP series. He didn't run that terribly well last week at Thornton. Of course, Thornton's not exactly the ideal place to be making your rookie debut, but he's going to start alongside of his right behind his Hendrick Motorsports team, I should say, in the third position. Alongside of him is our first chaser in this field, and that is Jake Cole. Jake Cole comes in 8th in the points, a total of 24 points out of the top position. Then you've got the cars of Austin LaPlante and Emilio Navarrete. And I'm trying to look and see how far back we have to go before we actually find another championship contender. And it looks like the next one would actually be rolling off from 10th place. And that is Madison Sieber, who is actually 11th in points and a total of 32 points out of the top position. I cannot find Charles Jackson in this field. Actually, no, that's Dylan Poteet. But I do see Sean Galligan, second in points, only 1 point back from Charles Jackson, our winner last week at Thornton. He'll roll off from 14th place is where Galligan will roll off from. And this is how close the points are right now, folks. It is going to be pretty good racing for position in the points today, because Charles Jackson, 2-time winner and last week's winner at Thornton, comes in by 1 point over Sean Galligan in the standings. Galligan is, of course, second. Cole Daly is third in points, only 2 points back. William Duncan, fourth in points, only 5 points back. Anthony McCurry is fifth in the point standings, only 7 points out. John Radigan is sixth in points, only 9 points back. Danny Wells is seventh in the standings. He is only a total of 13 points back. Then you got Jake Cole, as I said. He's eighth in the point standings, and he is a total of 24 points back. Then Tim Walsh comes in 9th in the standings. He is 25 points out. Sean Henley, this is the drivers that have to really start doing something here, even though they're not really that terribly far back. Sean Henley, 10th in points. He's a total of 32 points out. Madison Sieber, 11th in the point standings. She's a total of 34 points back. Drew Austin and James Silverfox, the 2 drivers from Everham, are 12th and 13th in the point standings, and they are a total of 35 and 37 points back, respectively. So, it's time to get these cars rolling off. They're going to complete a couple pace laps, and while they do that, we will show you the starting lineup for today's event here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Our 2 races, trucks and mobile, basically came down to fuel strategy, pit strategy, stuff along those lines. We got a little bit extra put onto today's race than we had in those 2 events. Will that come into play into some different kind of pit strategy in today's race? We'll find out in the starting lineup. pretty much established this race weekend that the fuel window for these drivers is somewhere around 20 to 22 laps. We've seen some be able to stretch at about 23 or 24 laps, but we'll have to see if anybody's going to risk trying to go that far on one tank of fuel. Here we go, though. Hendrick Motorsports lined up on the inside line in rows 1 and 2. Then you got Kyotech on the outside of row 1 and Stuart Haas on the outside of row number 2. Here we go. Pace car is peeled off. Green flag is out and we're underway, and Ralph Mason got just as good a restart as PJ Williams did. As a matter of fact, Zach Rogers got a good run. He's going to try and make it 3 wide to the inside. Here he comes. Keep in mind, this may be the second career start for Zach Rogers in the Snickers Cup Series, but this is not his first NNSCRA rodeo. He races in the Mobile One Cup Series in that number 10, and someone spun is Jake Cole! Jake Cole has just spun in front of the field. That's a chaser, and somehow, someway, everybody got by him. Wow! That was basically a virtual impossibility, I would think, for drivers to avoid him, but they did. And Zach Rogers will lead us under our first caution. LaPlante was second. I believe PJ Williams in third, Mason in fourth, and Navarrete in fifth. But how in the world did they avoid the Jake Cole machine? And Jake Cole has absolutely no damage on him. Trying to look see if anybody might have hit him. I see no damage on any of these drivers, guys. This is unbelievable. How in the world did they make that be just a single car incident? I am not sure. As here they come down pit road. Emilio Navarrete gonna roll the dice here and not come down pit road this time. So it looks like he'll probably cycle around as the leader, as everybody else appears to be coming down and making pit stops early on here. This may set them up for the different strategies they may try and utilize during the rest of this race. This thing goes into a long green flag run. I'm sure they're planning for that. Looks like Charles Jackson, the points leader, and our winner last week, staying out. A few other chasers. Sean Henley, James Silverfox staying out. Vadar, who stays out. Radigan staying out. Can't tell who that other car was. Looks like maybe Adam Chambers was staying out. So some drivers are rolling the dice, deciding to stay out here early on in this event, as we're going to watch this battle off pit road. I'll try and find out who those other drivers were. Carson Gum, Joshua Michaels, they stayed out. And there were a couple others. Zach Rogers, very quickly, he's going to get off pit road. LaPlante will come out in second. Looks like some other drivers who stayed out were Tristan Fulks, Kyle Matthews, Eugene DeMax, and his teammate John Cittadino. So, some pit stops being made here. Emilio Navarrete is going to be the leader under the caution flag. Let's see what that caution came out for. Well, they were 4 wide up here, battling for what would have been 4th place, and there's the contact. Navarrete into Jake Cole, down into John Cittadino. And 39 almost gets hit by Noah Hart there, almost gets hit by Dylan Poteet. How these drivers were able to keep to the high side and avoid him. And Jake Cole did a good job hanging onto it too. And John Cittadino did a good job of hanging onto his race car. He almost went down and hit the inside retaining wall, but he was able to keep his car straight as well. So tremendous saves by both Jake Cole and John Cittadino. It did bring out the caution flag, but I don't think any driver received any damage whatsoever from that incident. So unbelievable job by all those drivers to keep this thing from being just basically a solo car spin on the back straightaway. I can't believe with a 4-wide incident, that's all we end up having as a result. It's a tough break, obviously, for Jake Cole. He's going to have to pick up some track position now because he comes in as a chaser and 8th in the point standings, so he'll try and maybe work some strategy here. But the fortunate thing for him is he will not be DNFing. As we go back to green now, Emilio Navarrete is the current leader. Getting ready to go back to green flag racing. We basically told you the drivers that all stayed out, and I think there were maybe about 10, maybe 11, 12 drivers that did stay out under this caution flag, so they're going to restart up at the front of the field with Navarrete as the leader. Charles Jackson, points leader, up here now in second. Sean Henley is third. Silver Fox is fourth, so there's 3 chasers inside the top 5 right now, with his teammate Rohan Vidar lined up in 5th. There's another chaser in John Radigan running 6th. Carson Gum is 7th. 8th is Joshua Michaels. Tristan Folks is in 9th. And Kyle Matthews is 10th. Then you got Eugene DeMax in 11th and John Cittadino in 12th. Those drivers did not come down pit road under this caution flag. The rest of these drivers did a variety of different pit strategies. Fuel only, 4 tires, 2 tires. Zach Rogers is going to line up in 13th, 14th Austin LaPlante, 15th place PJ Williams, 16th Richard Johnson, 17th Madison Sieber now, 18th place Noah Hart, 19th is Drew Austin, and Sean Galligan is now up to 20th place. Let's find the rest of our chasers in this field here if we can. Anthony McCurry going to roll off from 28th place. William Duncan back in 33rd. Tim Walsh is back in 35th. Cole Daly must have had an extremely slow pit stop or something. He's back in 40th. Jake Cole is in 41st. And Danny Wells is back in 42nd place. So 3 chasers running in 40th, 41st, 42nd. Right at the back of the pack as the green flag's back out here on lap 6. Now the question is, those drivers that came down pit road on lap 2. Does that mean that they're only 2 laps better on fuel than these other drivers who decided not to come down pit road? That's going to be the big question. As Sean Henley moved by Charles Jackson for second. Now Jackson's caught on the high side, having a tough time getting back down there. He's about to lose a spot to chaser James Silverfox. We've also got Roy Vidarvu down there. He's about to take 4th place, and John Radigan is down there as well. Navarrete, the current leader right now, though. Behind him is a former Snickers-Cup Series champion, Sean Henley, and the caution flag is out again. Caution waves for the 2nd time today. And I'm hoping we may end up having just a single car incident like we had in the first caution. However, the odds of that not too good as Henley goes to the bottom of Navarrete, trying to make his move here. Navarrete's going to try and get the run off of turn 4. Who's going to lead at the line? It's going to be Sean Henley on the inside line. Looks like we had a spin on the front straightaway this time. And oh boy, backing up here on the back straightaway. Someone's coming to pit road. It's Michael Norman. He's got damage on the back of his number 3. And oh, William Duncan, a chaser, is involved. He's got some damage. Who else may have been in this? Looks like that could have been the only 2. There's a little damage, it looked like, to the back of the Noah Hart machine. I'd like to get a good look. See if when he passes this camera view. Yeah, he's got a little bit of damage to the rear of his car, it looks like. I'm not sure, though, but it appears so. And we got some other drivers making pit stops again. Are these the leaders coming in that didn't pit before? Yes, they are. And it looks like those other drivers came down pit road before. They're actually coming down pit road again, too. Zach Rogers will stay out. Oh, Carson Gum sits on pit road. He was involved in something. Galligan, Dougie Shears, Ralph Mason, Dylan Young, James McLeod. Appears like those drivers are staying out. Let's jump to our pit lane 1 cam, as a majority of the field is down here on pit road. Looks like Alan Tanker, Jake Cole, Cody Lamas, and Danny Wells also stayed out. PJ Williams, the pole sitter, he pulls into his first pit stall, but looks like Silverfox is going to be first off pit road. Then his teammate Joshua Michaels, then Williams, then Tristan Foltz, Richard Johnson, Eugene DeMax, Charles Jackson, Washer, Navarrete. There's Henley just now coming off pit road. He had a really slow pit stop. Cole Daly looks like he'll pick up a few spots on pit road as he got out ahead of drivers like Poteet, and there's LaPlante, McCurry, Dunham, Andreas Allen, and there goes William Duncan. That chaser will continue, but let's see what happened to him. He and Carson Gum and Michael Norman apparently all got together. Now let's take a look here. This was up here just around the battle for 7th place. Carson Gum and the 22 of Tristan Folks going to make some contact, and Carson's going to get turned hard down into the inside retaining wall. Man, that was a pretty hard impact for that 56. That's not a safer barrier down there. That is more kind of like a steel synthetic on that guardrail, and that is a pretty hard impact if you hit it as hard as Carson did right there. Now, Carson Gum, you see him not get involved with anybody, but that was what brought the caution flag out. So my question is, what happens to Michael Norman and William Duncan that gives the 6 his damage? Here they are. Let's see if we can fast forward just a little bit here. Must have been something that takes place right here. Right about here. Let's see. Deanna Shelton's in the middle. Michael Norman is on the inside. William Duncan is on the outside. And, oh, Carson Gum just runs straight into the back of the 3. Then he slid up into Deanna Shelton, who came up in front of William Duncan. Holy cow, what was Carson thinking? He flat out just pile-drived the back of the Michael Norman number 3. And then when he tapped the 13 of Shelton, Shelton gets loose, spins up in front of Duncan, and Duncan ran to the back of her. So Carson Gum, I think that what actually happened was Carson Gum had actually slid across the start finish line. I think they'll actually tell us here if we actually go back to his race car. Yeah, he had slid across the finish line in 10th position when that caution came out, which means that he was entitled to come back around and get 10th place. However, he did not apparently pay attention to who was in front of him and ran into the back of Michael Norman at full speed. So he could have just barely dodged a bullet there, maybe continued on inside the top 10 when it came down to make a pit stop, but he may have just taken himself out of this race as a result of that move. Maybe a rookie mistake on his part, as that's what brought the caution out, and then Carson Gum running into some drivers on the back straightaway. That was a follow-up wreck after the caution had waved. Zach Rogers stayed out until the last round of pit stops. He will restart as the leader. Let's head back now to green. So the 24, who started third in this race, he will restart now as the leader. Sean Galligan would currently be the Snickers Cup Series points leader, as he is up in second place now. He's the highest running of the chasers. You got to go ways back before you get to Jake Cole. Dougie Shears lines up in third. Fourth, Ralph Mason. Dylan Young now is fifth. Sixth place is going to be James McLeod. Seventh is Alan Tanker. Jake Cole, after he ended up having that solo car spin, he's now up to eighth. Ninth place is Cody Lumsden. Danny Wells, he's now up to 10th. Remember, those 3 drivers ended up starting back around 40th, 41st, 42nd. Now, after pit strategy, they're up in the top 10. Here's the rest of our chasers. James Silverfox, he's up in 11th place right now. Then you got to go quite a ways back before you find Charles Jackson, who does have some right side or some left side damage on his car. He's back in 17th for this restart. Drew Austin is in 20th. Madison Sieber in 21st. Sean Henley in 22nd. 23rd, John Radigan. Then you got to go a ways back here before you find Cole Daly. He is going to restart in 31st place. His teammate Tim Walsh back in 33rd. Anthony McCrory, we haven't heard anything of him all day. He's back in 37th. And 40th place with the damaged race car now is William Duncan. We do have 2 drivers out of the race now, and they are the cars of Carson Gum and Michael Norman. Green flag will come back out here on lap 12 of 41, giving us a total of 30 laps to go here today. Let's see if these drivers are going to now, after hitting 2 caution flags, if we can go under a bit of a green flag run here. And Zach Rogers got a good jump. He's going to get away from Sean Galligan. Actually, that battle for seconds raging up. Let's jump back to that. A couple of former NSRA champions going at it. Sean Galligan, a former Mobil Cup Series champ. Dougie Shears, a former Snickers Cup Series champion. And now it's going to be a battle between the 2 Englishmen. You got Sean Galligan and Ralph Mason side by side. That's for third. Whoa, 3 wide as Silver Fox sticks, or not Silver Fox, McLeod I should say, sticks it way down on the inside line. And Galligan very slowly is losing positions here rather than gaining them. And we got to keep an eye on here the Charles Jackson machine. Has he been able to cut through traffic and work his way up? Because he's trying to run down now Sean Galligan on the racetrack. No, now he's caught on the high side. About to lose a spot to John Radigan. Jump up here. There's Sean Henley side by side with PJ Williams, and here's one of those make it or break it drivers, James Silverfox. Now, he had a good run of second yesterday in the Mobil Cup Series event, and he's running very well here in the Snickers Cup Series event. He really needs a run like this to get himself back up there mathematically in contention for the championship here in the Snickers Cup Series, and right now, he's doing a good job. He almost got contact there with Emilio Navarrete, though. That was close. Sean Henley now going to move under him. That's another driver who really needs a good run today. He's been very consistent today, currently running up, I believe he just took 12th place away from Silver Fox, and now he's going to move underneath his Tweenix Racing teammate and fellow chaser Sean Galligan, take another spot. Now he moves under Jake Cole for yet another position. Henley is picking up some spots pretty quickly right now. Tell you another guy who's doing a good job right now after some pit strategy, Danny Wells. 7th in points, a total of 13 points out of the top spot. Danny Wells up right now in the 5th position. And it's looking like these drivers are wanting to run some green flag laps here. And the question now is, so many drivers on so many different pit strategies after coming down pit road on different occasions. Who's going to have to pit when, and who at the end of the cycle of green flag pit stops is going to come out as the leader. Right now, Zach Rogers is the leader. Dougie Shears was doing a good job running him down for the lead, but now James McLeod's going to spoil that party as he goes to the inside line for second off of Dougie Shears. James McLeod battling it out for the championship in the two other series, trucks and mobile. This is the one series he's not battling out for the championship. However, McLeod, who was a three-time winner last season in the Snickers-Cup series when he drove that 51, is winless this season, amazingly enough, and he'd love to be able to go to victory lane for the first time this season. And the caution flag is out. Caution's out for the third time today now. After running a few green flag laps, we are going to be under our third yellow, and Zach Rogers will be the leader under that yellow flag. Let's see who's involved in this one. Oh, some chasers were in this one. Noah Hart, Anthony McCurry, two drivers from Kyotech, Madison Sieber, as well as Trent Dunham. And Alan Tanker is on pit road. I think that's a regularly scheduled stop for him. Nick Barney's got damage. Cole Daly, I think, has got some damage. And I don't know where this started, but there were at least three chasers involved in this one. Sieber, Daly, and that driver, Anthony McCurry. Trent Dunham still running around the racetrack with smoke pouring out. Same for Noah Hart and same for Madison Sieber. And I don't want to say it, but this early on, Madison Sieber's been having some trouble finishing races. And Sieber comes in 11th in the points, a total of 34 points out. This is not going to be what she needs to have happen today, especially with drivers such as Charles Jackson and Sean Galligan having good runs today. This could, I don't want to say it is going to be, but this could, well, this probably is going to be now. She runs in the back of Noah Hart. This may be the blow that's going to take her out of contention for maybe winning this championship unless she goes on a momentum roll. As Citadino and Kyle Matthews stay out, everybody else coming down pit road. Let's jump to our pit lane 1 camera. Two drivers staying out, so whoever comes off pit road first will be restarting in the 3rd position, I believe, although there is another driver coming. Oh, that's the Alan Tanker machine, who I think got off pit road ahead of everybody, so he'll restart 3rd. Tremendous pit strategy by the 16, and oh, Henley and Zach Rogers. I think Henley just barely beat him off pit road. And it's Shears, Mason, Navarrete, Wells, Young, Lamas, and James McLeod in a close battle there. Then Jake Cole and Drew Austin, as everybody else completes their service. There you see the black smoke looming on pit road there after some drivers just came down pit road that were smoking there. Dunham and Noah Hart and Madison Sieber. Caution flags out. Let's see what happened. Got a few chasers involved in this one. Let's take a look here. This was up somewhere just around the 25th position, I would say. Madison Sieber. Is Noah Hart going to try and go 4 wide here? I think he is. So Charles Jackson's going to get a piece of this. The points leader coming to today's race. No, he got nothing. No, Noah Hart got into the left rear of Madison Sieber. And Sieber is going to go down hard into the wall. That was head on. Slides right back up the racetrack, and who's... Oh, man, how Tim Walsh avoided. McCurry just barely got clipped. And I think McCurry is going to be the one that's going to get hit by... Yeah. Oh, wait, maybe Noah Hart comes up into Trent Dunham? Yes. Yep. Aston Seberg came up. She got Anthony McCurry. Noah Hart, McCurry's Kyotech Racing teammates, going to come up the racetrack as well. And he's going to be the one that's going to collect Trent Dunham. And possibly Cole Daly as well here. Oh, Nick Barney got a piece of it there. There's Dunham. There's Daly. And that is what's going to happen there. Two drivers taking hard licks into the inside retaining wall, coming right back up. Man, Tim Walsh nearly T-boned the 33. McCurry nearly got through, but just barely got clipped. Trent Dunham took a hard lick into the Noah Hart machine. And Cole Daly, tough break for him too. Another chaser, nowhere for him to go. So the caution flag is out. This time, chasers were involved, a total of 3 of them, Sieber, McCurry, and Cole Daly. As the race winds on and gets close to its end, now the chasers are starting to get involved in incidents. They're starting to get antsy, they're starting to make mistakes, and it could cost them in the long run of winning the championship even as early as this race here in race number 3 of the chase. Well, he may be out of the hunt of defending his Snickers Cup Series championship from last season, but John Cittadino would love to still be able to go to victory lane. He has not been to victory lane yet this season, and he was a 6-time winner last season in the Snickers Cup. So John Cittadino using some pit strategy. He's out in front now as we're nearing the halfway point. Rookie Kyle Matthews still looking for his first win, as he's been up front really just about every single week. He's been a great talent over there for Penske Germain Racing. He'll line up second. Alan Tanker, who put together a great pit strategy right there, came down pit road. The caution came out. He came off pit road, and he is going to restart in the 3rd position. And then these drivers did come down pit road. However, we know that Alan Tanker is good to go on fuel for a while too, I think, as well, because he made a 4-tire stop when he was on pit road. But Zach Rogers lines up in 5th. Dougie Shears in 6th. 4th was Zach Rogers, 5th Dougie Shears. 6th place is going to be Ralph Mason, 7th Emilio Navarrete. Danny Wells still up there in 8th. 9th is Dylan Young, and Cody Lamas restarts in 10th. The rest of our chasers, we got Jake Cole in 12th. How about Drew Austin? Kind of a make it or break it race for him. He comes in 12th in the point stands, a total of 35 points out. He's up in 13th right now, so a good run for him. John Radigan's up in 14th place. Then you got Tim Walsh is the next driver, back in the 19th position. Sean Gallagher right behind him in 20th. James Silverfox in 21st. Then you gotta go a long ways back before you're able to find the William Duncan machine, who's back in 32nd, but still trying to continue on. Anthony McCurry lines up 34th, 35th, Charles Jackson, Cole Daly 36th, and Sean Henley in 37th. We've already had a chaser go back behind the wall. That is the car of Madison Sieber, and she is joined by Trent Dunham and Noah Hart. Carson Gum and Michael Norman have been back behind the wall ever since their incident, as John Cittadino has a hornet's nest behind him. A lot of drivers utilizing the 4-tire strategy on pit road, trying to get around those slower machines. And here comes, oh, look at Tanker. Look at the run. It's a Roush Fenway sandwich, and Tanker got a huge run on the high side. And somebody spun. I heard some squealing. Somebody, I think, spun on the front straightaway. The caution out? Yes, it is. Now, I don't know if that caution came out after they crossed the start finish line or before. It appears it must have been after, because they're going to battle it back to the stripe here. Roush Fenway out in front, Shears on the inside, Tanker on the outside. Which line's going to get the run off of 4? And at the line, Danny Wells waiting to see which line will open up. Tanker draws even. He's trying to draw ahead. At the line, it's Alan Tanker with the high side going to the lead. And who was involved in this one? Another chaser, Sean Henley. William Duncan may have been involved. Cole Daly and Charles Jackson. Nick Barney's got damage. And there's 4 chasers right there. Boom, 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 boom. All involved. Who else may have gotten pieces of this is my question, though. PJ Williams, maybe. Joshua Michaels, possibly. And Cody Lamas looks like he could have some damage. And they're going to make some pit stops again. And it looks like nobody's going to stay out this time, so while they make their pit stops, we're going to look back at a replay. 4 more chasers involved in an incident here. Henley, Jackson, Daly, and Duncan. So we're under the caution for the 4th time today here at Homestead. And this incident was yet another 4-wide attempt that went horribly, horribly wrong. Jake Cole, Cody Lamas, Kyle Matthews, and his teammate Dylan Young coming off of 4. There is the contact. Cody up into Kyle, into Dylan. And they're just basically almost squeezing the 12 car, and that's going to cause one car to snap loose. That's the Dylan Young car. And around they go, right in front of John Radigan. Now we got to jump to a different camera angle, see who was involved in this. Here we go. Galligan was able to get by. Silver Fox was able to get by. Richard Johnson got some damage, though. Andreas Allen did. This Kyle Masters is going to spin down to the inside line. And then you watch back here. Nova, McCrory, Nick Barney, Cole Daly all backed up into each other. Cole Daly's car is actually going to flip up and over. Jackson gets involved. I think I mentioned Mary Cole, Dylan Young, Charles Jackson, William Duncan. Boy, that was actually an incident where all the drivers just started backing into each other. And that's how those drivers, those chasers, ended up getting involved. And Cole Daly, after flipping his number 88 over, is actually going to be able to drive away. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4 chasers right there. Charles Jackson, William Duncan, Sean Henley, and Cole Daly, who came in the point standings 1st, 3rd, 10th, and 4th in the point standings. A lot of these drivers we saw up at the front of the field as well. So a tough break for them. Henley's day appears to be over. And this was one of the make it or break it drivers. Him, Sieber, Drew Austin, and James Silverfox. So far, Henley and Sieber have not been able to answer the call of having to get a good finish today. And it could cost them in the long run. Let's head back now to green, as I believe everybody came down pit road. We'll see who's going to restart as the leader. So Dougie Shears was first on, first off of pit road. He'll restart as the leader. Second place, Ralph Mason. Danny Wells up here in third, having a great run in that 31. Trying to look for his third win of the season. James McLeod is in fourth. Zach Rogers in fifth. Emilio Navarrete sixth. There's Jake Cole still trudging on in seventh. Eighth is Tristan Foltz. Great run for him after a good run last week at Thornton. John Radigan, he's got damage on his number 14, but he's in ninth. And Joshua Michaels is in 10th. Let's find the rest of our chasers, as a few of them are behind the wall. James Silverfox, he's going to restart in 18th place. Sean Galligan is back in 24th. Right now, he and Charles Jackson, I believe, would be tied for the points lead in the current standings, as Charles Jackson runs in 25th. Tim Walsh is in 26th. Drew Austin now has some damage on both the front and rear of his Dodge, but he's in 27th. Anthony McCurry is in 33rd, and he's actually the last car running on the racetrack. The rest of the drivers are out of the race, and they include the following: Nick Barney, chasers William Duncan, Sean Henley, and Cole Daly. And then they join Trent Dunham, Noah Hart, Madison Sieber, Carson Gum, and Michael Norman back behind the wall. So 4 chasers are out of the race here at Homestead-Miami. And when we get the green flag, we'll have a total of 15 laps to go here today at Homestead. Green flag ready to come back out. Dougie Shears going to get us underway. Shears, Mason, Danny Wells, they got good jumps. James McLeod, I should say, seemed to have had a little bit of trouble on that restart. And here comes Danny on the inside line. Now, Danny's last win came at Kentucky. And Danny Wells right now looking pretty doggone good. I believe his 2 wins came at Nazareth and Kentucky. 2 tracks that are somewhat similar to this racetrack, so not surprising to see him running well up here. But he just got kicked to the high side there, or else he went there of his own accord, one or the other. But it brought James McLeod right to him. As Dougie Shears gets the run off of 4, he's going to keep the lead. Ralph Mason moves into second. Then it's a good battle back here between James McLeod and Danny Wells. That is for third place. How about Emilio Navarrete? He's been keeping himself up in the thick of things here today. And Tristan Foltz. Great run for him right now after he had a good debut last week at Thornton. He's running very well here today now in that Penske Germain Ford. And another driver having a good run is Zach Rogers. He's been consistently up inside the top 10 all day, having an excellent run for Hendrick Motorsports. Right now, Danny Wells, the highest running of the chasers. Then you got to jump back here to Jake Cole, who's back in the 10th position. And Jake's having a very good run right now. His teammate has some damage back there. He's losing some spots. But Jake Cole, remember, his day did not start out too well. He got spun around up near the front of the field in a single car spin, was able to save it, and has been able to stay up here at the front of the field ever since. And is the caution out? No, it's not out, but I thought I saw some smoke there in the back straightaway. Somebody have trouble? Yes, Anthony McCrory, another chaser, is on the apron and smoking. And I think he may have spun on the back straightaway, but they did not throw a caution flag apparently. So another chaser, that's our 5th chaser today involved in something at Homestead-Miami, and Anthony McCurry, his engine is basically toast. So now as I'm looking here, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 10th, and 11th in points in the chase standings have been involved in something and will be behind the wall, finishing with a DNF by the end of today's event. I told you, Homestead-Miami is not the track that we go to for our season finale. But this weekend it has proved to be a points changer. And we are seeing the meaning of that in today's event here. Is when they come out of this turn, we're going to have 10 laps to go, as they have been running clean and green. Now here's a question. We took the green flag with 15 to go. I believe all these drivers did come down pit road under that last caution, which would have been somewhere around 18, 17 laps to go. Are these drivers good to go on fuel if this thing goes into a long green flag run? I don't really know if that's the case. I would think it would be. But we're going to have to find out as Dougie Shears continues to dominate this race. Ralph Mason right behind him, though. The only one of the Kyotech cars now, with McCrory dropping out, that is doing well. Back here you got James McLeod. Alan Tanker back here as well. So Roush Fenway right now has 2 of their cars up inside the top 4. Danny Wells right there, having a good run. And there's Tim Walsh. Tim Walsh all of a sudden is making his presence felt up here in the top 10. So he's going underneath of the Kyle Matthews machine. John Cittadino having himself a good run. See if any other chasers are doing well back here. Well, I don't see any chasers, but I do see a driver who needs a good run here. That's Dylan Poteet. Remember, he flipped back at Thornton after he made contact with Andreas Allen. I think it was Danny Wells at that point. And his car went flipping down the long highway. He's up here in the top 15 right now. Where's our chasers, though? Well, there's Silver Fox. He's worked his way up now to the 17th position. His teammate now going to go 3 wide underneath Henry Nova and Eugene DeMax to move himself up here a few more positions. And we were talking about Jake Cole. He got kicked up to the high side, and he has lost a lot of spots. Now he gets back down to the inside just in front of Dylan Young. He'll try to get back those positions he just lost. Where's Galligan, though? Where's Jackson? There's Radigan. There's Jackson back in 27th. But where'd Galligan go? Man, Galligan's all the way back in 31st place. What's happened to him? Right now, I would think the points leader would possibly be this driver, Danny Wells. Although he just slipped back to the 12th position now. Move back up here to the front, though. Dougie Shears continues to lead, Mason in 2nd, and then it's another Roush Fenway car in 3rd place in the form of the Alan Tanker machine. Cittadino, great run for him. He's up here in 4th place. I remember we saw Kyle Matthews have some contact there with his teammate Dylan Young, and that whole incident out of 4, he's up here still in the 5th position, even with the damaged race car. Dylan Poteet now going to look underneath of the Tim Walsh machine. That I believe would be for 6th position. Richard Johnson back here, he's having a good run in the 11. Tim Walsh can get the run off that corner, though. He'll keep 6th place from Poteet. Good battle shaping up here between John Cittadino and rookie Kyle Matthews. And it is appearing that the leaders are starting to come up and catch up to the Dougie Shears machine. Look at here, as Ralph Mason's got Tanker coming up to his back bumper. Meanwhile, Dougie Shears has both of them coming to his back bumper. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Wow, looked like they went to that corner really, really slow, but apparently they're still good. Shears the leader. Tanker now trying to make it Roush Fenway 1-2. He does so. Mason's getting freight train now. Cittadino, he's going to go underneath him. Tim Walsh going to go underneath as Kyle Matthews elected to go to the high side. Not sure if that was the best strategy. Now he's going to try and get back to the inside. 3 wide there with Walsh and Mason. Next time around, we're going to have a total of 3 laps to go. And it's starting to get hairy up here at the front. Here comes Richard Johnson, Dylan Poteet up here to make it what would be a 8-car fight for the possible win. Dougie Shears leads, but wait a minute. John Cittadino trying to get a run. Well, doesn't look like it's going to work. I thought he might have gotten a run on him into turn number 1 here. But he was not quite able to get there in time, and so now he'll lose 2nd place to Tim Walsh. Kyle Matthews now going to look down to the inside line to take 3rd place, and Tanker right up there as well. But wait a minute, Tim Walsh, did he get to the inside? He looks like he may have made a hole underneath Dougie Shears, and yes, he did. Tim Walsh to the lead. Kyle Matthews moves into 2nd. Oh man, they're close back there. John Cittadino just cut right in front of Richard Johnson in order to make the move on Dougie Shears. It was quite benevolent of Richard Johnson to let Cittadino in. But we got 2 laps to go, and look who's now out in front. A chaser who has not been to victory lane yet this season, Tim Walsh. He and Anthony McCurry, the only two chasers that have not been to victory lane. Tim Walsh got into this thing, folks, by leading the completion of lap number 10 back at Atlanta. It's his third career chase, and he may be en route to pick up his first win with Hendrick Motorsports as late as race number 29 here in this season. White flag in the air. This is the most, determination we've ever seen out of Tim Walsh this entire season. Some drivers are making pit stops. Was that Navarrete? Yes, Navarrete just came down pit road. So some drivers could not make it on fuel. Tim Walsh, I think, is going to try and stretch it. If I were him, I would stretch it. He's a chaser. He's winless. He's 9th in the points, a total of 25 points out. I would try and stretch it. Kyle Matthews, though, hoping he runs out of fuel as he's right there ready to pounce if necessary. Out of turn 4 for the final time. Tim Walsh is going to go back to victory lane the first time in Season 6. He wins today in the Ford Ecoboost 400 at Homestead-Miami. And as they say in auction terms, we got a new hound in the race here as far as the championship's concerned. 5 valuable bonus points will go in the direction of the Time Warner Cable Chevrolet out of Hendrick Motorsports. 4th win of the season for Hendrick Motorsports, by the way, and the first of the season for Tim Walsh. Man, Hendrick Motorsports has been on quite a momentum streak as of late. The Atlanta race went to Cold Alley. Few races before that, the Stunt Road race went to Cold Alley. And now Tim Walsh picks up the win for Hendrick here today. And Tim Walsh, folks, amazing as it may seem, but with everything that has happened here today, Tim Walsh is going to be the new points leader of the SNICKERS-CUP Series standings. Wow, talk about cashing in. We got to take a look at our official top 10. Some drivers actually had to come down pit road in those closing stages. Could not make it the rest of the way on fuel. I saw Navarrete was one of them. I don't know who the other ones were. But Tim Walsh is the winner. Kyle Matthews comes away with what I think is his best career finish of 2nd. John Cittadino, great run for him in 3rd. Richard Johnson 4th. And Dougie Shears was 5th. Alan Tanker was 6th. Then Dylan Poteet is in 7th. Ralph Mason 8th. 9th is Rohit Vidarvu. And 10th, Adam Chambers. Now, why is Tim Walsh the points leader heading next week? Look at the top 10. Only one chaser in the top 10, and that was the winner, Tim Walsh. Then you got to go all the way down to Danny Wells, who finished in 13th place. Then you find Drew Austin in 16th. That may put him back up mathematically in the title hunt. I don't know. Silver Fox going to finish in 20th place. Jake Cole was in 23rd. Charles Jackson 24th. Sean Galligan finished out the day in 27th place. And then the rest of these drivers either finished off the lead lap or out of the race. John Radigan was a lap down. Out of the race were the chasers of Anthony McCurry, Cole Daly, William Duncan, Sean Henley, and Madison Sieber. So as you look here, just to give you the look of Tim Walsh getting the spot away for the points lead, in order to take the points lead, he would have to have finished a total of 25 positions ahead of Charles Jackson and 24 ahead of Galligan. That means that Galligan would have to finish in 24th place, Charles Jackson in 25th. You see Jackson finished in 24th place, and Sean Henley finished in 27th. So Tim Walsh, by I believe 1 point, is going to be the points leader heading into next week at South Boston. Tim Walsh, I'm telling you what, folks, he's no stranger to the chase. He was a chaser in Season 3, a chaser in Season 4. He didn't make the chase in Season 5, but he was a 2-time winner when he drove the 56 for Michael Waltrip Racing. As a matter of fact, one of the racetracks he actually won at, we're coming up to very soon, Lime Rock. So we'll see how he does there. Maybe become a 2-time winner this season in the chase for the championship. But congratulations to Tim Walsh on not only winning today's race, his first of the season, but also taking over the SNICKERS-CUP Series points lead. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to give like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. Homestead-Miami Speedway has definitely played itself out its part in this season's chase for the championship in all 3 series. So here comes your official finishing result. Overall point standings, booking points, and chase points heading into next week. We're going short track racing under the lights at South Boston. Sure to be a great one. Hope you'll tune in for that. As you've been watching production of the SERIÉS, offline racing at its best. Here they come off the final corner, and oh, one of them was John Zinedino, the leader! Zinedino, the pole sitter. There goes Madison Saber off. There goes Ralph Mason, second in points off. Oh my goodness.